And welcome back to Street Switch Photography. Tonight we have a live meeting at Melton Borough Council, so I thought I'll stream it and put my pennant's worth in to see what everybody thinks. So let's do this.
Street Switch Photography.
So, welcome back to Street Switch Photography. Yes, we've got another live feed on Melton Borough Council's meeting tonight. It's a cabinet meeting. I'm just going to set up the live. I need to make sure my phone's turned down, otherwise I'll end up with echo, crap joke. But anyway, tonight's meeting, I don't know what's about. Obviously, I haven't watched it because it is live as it's coming in to you right now. Hence the live sign just here above my head. I'm going to get the... I'm going to get the live chat up. 1 second, if it will let me. There we go. And it won't let me, so it's being a bottom hole. 1 second. Boom. Here we go. This is the meeting that's just come on. And we're live. Let's listen to what they're saying. It looks like they've got a bit of a room full there.
A few moments later.
So they all stand up for the mayor to enter the room, Ziggy Atherton. There she goes. Her accent really does sort of interest me. I'd love to know where her accent's from. There's Eddie Coverley. There's Lee Higgins. Quite a few there. Looks like quite an interesting meeting tonight, this one. It's going to be interesting to see what's said.
Good evening and welcome to this meeting of Melton Borough. Evacuation procedure. In the event of having to evacuate the country.
I don't know how well you can actually hear that. I'm going to turn it up.
Round the side of the ship. Then at the far side of the car park, nearest to the park entry. And welcome to this meeting. Officers will be on hand to assist fire engines.
Sounds like they may be having some sound difficulty.
Recording of the meeting. There's a legislation that allows people to film report social media to cancel meeting. Must not interrupt of the meeting and you filming or please switch all mobile phones. Microphone. Councillors and officers are reminded to use microphone benefit. Electric book. Tonight we are using the electric book that was carried out by the microphone.
I can't really hear what Ziggy Atherton is actually saying. We'll carry on with the meeting and see what actually happens, because sometimes they sort this out, but they seem to have been having a lot of problems with the audio system.
Register your vote. Reverend Nina Johnson, here to offer up.
I want to read a blessing.
There we go.
The blessing comes from a book called Benedictus by a Roman Catholic priest called
Benedict.
Donahue.
Oh,
And the
Benedictus.
blessing, it's kind of wishes, well wishes, best wishes, but more than that, in a prayer.
Punch it in the whiskers.
For people who hold power. Then there'll be a prayer after that.
Tongue punch that fart box.
So for those of you who hold power, may the gift of leadership awaken in you as a vocation. Keep you mindful of the providence that calls you to serve.
Tongue punch.
As high over the mountains the eagle spreads its wings, may your perspective be larger than the view from the foothills. When the way is flat and dull in times of grey endurance, May your imagination continue to evoke horizons. When thirst burns in times of drought, may you be blessed to find the wells. May you have the wisdom to read time clearly and know when the seed of change will flourish. In your heart, may there be a sanctuary for the stillness where clarity is born. May your work be infused with passion
A
and
few moments
creativity,
later.
and have the wisdom to balance compassion and challenge. May your soul find the graciousness to rise above the fester of small mediocrity.
So for those of you that are of a non-religious view, they always do a prayer at the beginning of each meeting, which is a good thing to say for in the, you know, the realms of Christianity and things like that, which is I actually do agree with, and everything else. I was just having a bit of a muck and mess around, and I've got a bit of wind. Sorry. Can't help it. I've had one too many kebabs this week. Shit happens.
May your power never become a shell wherein your heart would silently atrophy. May you welcome your own vulnerability as the ground where healing
If your tongue punch the fart box, you get a little. Oh.
and truth join. May integrity of soul be your first ideal, the source that will guide and bless your work.
I'm
Let us
so
pray.
sorry.
Gracious and loving God, we pray for all who hold authority, for all who have been
Stop laughing.
appointed to serve in local and national government. We pray that they may have wisdom and compassion as they serve the people around them. And we pray this evening especially for the council here in Melton, as they seek to find the ways forward that will be good for all the people of Melton. As they negotiate different needs and different ideologies. And we pray for the people.
Different ideologies. No. 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 I do not support terrorist ideologies. Did she mean all ideologies? Who knows?
People of Melton, that we may be united in service and compassion to build community in the places where we live and work and socialise, that all in this borough may flourish. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
It's amen.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay if you.
Now, obviously, if I was there in the room, I'd have kept quiet and I'd have actually put my head down and everything else. I'm just having a bit of fun before anybody takes offence or anything like that. I'm just having a bit of fun, trying to liven the meeting up a little bit because these can be quite monotonous. And, you know, I mean, if you're going to... You can't beat comedy gold when it comes to... You know what I mean? It's just one of them things. Everybody laughs at a fart. It's
Would like.
common sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Apologies for absences. I received 2 apologies, one from Councillor Chubb and one from Councillor Fair.
Chuff.
Can any member wishing to give apologies
Chubb?
for another member indicate they wish to do
Is that Councillor Chubb or Councillor Chuff?
so by raising their hand? Councillor Chubb.
It doesn't sound like Ziggy
Thank you.
Atherton's microphone's very good. Or she's just not speaking close enough to it.
Therefore, I confirm that we have 25 members present in the meeting and apologies have been noted. Minutes. To confirm the minutes of the council meeting held on the 24th of July 2025. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Almond. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Clancy.
Now, I did enjoy Pip Olnett's rendition in the Melton Times of the flag, the Union Jack, the other day. He spoke very eloquently about it, so thumbs up to that. There may be a little hint there for tonight's meeting.
Do any members of the committee make any comments?
Yes, it's for the minutes where it says Councillor Gordon declared an interest in minute number CO33 as the report is in relation to a sanction against herself. Can you add to that? I could remain.
So, for those of you that don't know, Councillor Gordon received a sanction of a 90-day ban from the council offices because of certain views that she had on certain topics. I won't go into details, but to me it seemed like the person that was in charge of that meeting should have shut that meeting down and there should be no sanction whatsoever. That was another video that has now gone past, and I believe that she was not in the wrong, but that's my opinion on it. I'm entitled to my opinion the same as everybody else is entitled to theirs. It went through certain phases and everything else and was dealt with. That's been dealt with, that's the past. Let's crack on with the meeting.
And participate during this agenda item as confirmed by Clive Tobin, the monitoring officer, please.
She's a really good councillor, I like her.
Yes, we can note that in minutes. Thank you. Anybody else?
I hope you're liking my lighting, by the way. New
Please
lighting.
use the electronic voting system in front of you and choose either for, against or abstain. It is now.
So they're just voting on that. I'll put my vote in.
I
Sorry.
confirm that's 24 for and 1 abstention.
So 24 for and 1 abstention.
Item number 3, declaration of interest. If any member would like to indicate that they have an interest to declare, would they please do so by raising their hand?
Now I believe that's where this camera should zoom out so we
Another
can see who's
registry-
raising the hand and who isn't.
Madam Mayor, it's anything to do with the town estate, obviously, I mean, declaration of interest.
Tim.
I don't think it will be, but
That's Tim, ex-mayor of Melton Mowbray. Lovely bloke, spoke to him numerous times, always stops in town and says hello and asks how your family are and everything. Really nice guy.
It's fine, thank you. Another registered interest in respect of Councillor Joe Olsen is taken as being recorded as a matter which relates to the Leicester County Council. I will now go to Mayor's announcement. Since the last full council, I had 7 items that I did. One of the best ones was part of the Air Cadet space where I went for the barbecue, which was extremely interesting, and I found their interaction in their knowledge, in their keenness to do things extremely inspiring. Also, the High Sheriff's Garden Party was absolutely fantastic. Band played, the food was lovely, a lovely, lovely afternoon. We went to Dove Cottage to open the Sensor Garden, where holiday I visited Longfields Academies and talked to the students there, and they were absolutely fantastic. I met one of the youngest ambassador at Longfield ever, was only in year 8, and he was extremely knowledgeable and wanted to share a lot of their information.
Now, going on Longfield School. Longfield School is a school that supports LGBTQ4K ideology. They put a number of flags up. They've put one what looks like it's got a mole on it from what I can work out, and everything else. Now, couple of weeks ago there was rumours that I was going to go down there and do a video on the place, which was completely untrue and now being proven. I said I felt a video coming on, but not about Longfield School. I just wanted to make that clear to everybody. The person's been dealt with that put out that misinformation, and that's the end of that.
We now move to the Mayor Cadets. During the last year, we had Flight Sergeant Charlotte Spencer, who was my predecessor's Air Cadet, and I would like to invite her to come up to receive her presentation.
Now, for those of you that don't know, if you are the Mayor of Melton Mowbray, you have to remain something called apolitical, not to be seen to be favouring one party over another. You have to stay completely sort of apolitical throughout your part of being mayor. Thank you.
So tonight I'm going to talk through my year as Mayor's Cadet. So firstly, my Mayor's Cadet event. So last November for the Remembrance Parade, I marched with the Mayor, and then there was the wreath laying, and then last December there was also the Mayor's Carol concert where I did a reading, watched the rest of the concert, which was very good.
So I've never heard of anything called the Mayor's Cadet and things like that. I'd like to know what that's all about. That's quite interesting. Do they go to like Air Training Corps or something along those lines?
And then other cadets events I've completed this year is 2 courses, which was my senior and...
Maybe more youths of Melton should get involved in this type of thing. Things like your cadets, things like, you can do the army thing, whatever it was called. I can't remember what it was called now, but I know there used to be loads of things like that in Melton, and it's not promoted enough.
CO course, and then my Methods of Instruction course, which allowed me to get my yellow lanyard and be able to teach cadets. And then we had our Cadets Carol concert, which the Mayor also was present at. I attended Christmas camp with some of the squadrons from the wing. Finally, recently I just got promoted to Flight Sergeant as well. And then outside of cadets, I've had quite a busy year. So first I passed my driving test.
If the audio isn't coming across very well, guys, it's not my computer or anything. It's at their end and their streaming software or whatever it is, whoever set it up. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Thank you. And then I completed my A-levels, which let me get into Bournemouth University, where I'm heading at the weekend to study marketing. I also began to photograph women's football as a hobby. It gets me many exciting opportunities.
Good on you. So we'll move forward. I think it's next the Leader of the Council makes a speech, which will be, I believe, Councillor Pip Allnutt.
Announcement. I invite the Leader, Councillor Allnutt, to provide his announcement.
Now, I read his column in the Melton Times about the Union Jack and about what it actually meant to him, because he had family that fought in obviously the First and the Second World War. What regiment or what anything else they were in, I don't know. But he spoke very eloquently about it, and it was quite it's worth a read. Go and take a look.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that Councillor Pritchett is hiding his light under a bushel, really. He's a bit of a hero at Dove Cottage, I know that. Very good at cutting the grass. Keep it up, mate. Well done. Madam Mayor, I'd like to welcome back Councillor Margaret Clay to her seat this evening, and of course Councillor Chris Evans as usual. I'm pleased to see you. May I take this opportunity to welcome you and Councillor Ian Atherton back from your holiday, and thank you both for making it hot foot from boat and plane to be with us this evening. Well done. And thanks, of course, to our cadets who are now leaving, now I'm speaking, and all those who enable their organisations to thrive and provide valuable life skills to youngsters, irrespective of their final career choices. Madam Mayor, no doubt they will be part of St Mary's service of commemoration for the Battle of Britain this Sunday, to which all members are, of course, invited. Madam Mayor, last Saturday I was privileged to join members of our local branch of the Royal British Legion and Councillors Clancy and Higgins for a service of remembrance. I think we can have the slide now. And dedication for the 10th Parachute Regiment, 1942 to 1944.
Now, in my opinion, this is what the flags should stand for, and they should be bringing Great Britain together. They should be flown as much as possible to remember the people back in the First and the Second World War. Most families have had somebody or in some way been touched by the First and the Second World War, and these men and women fought for our freedoms that we have today, and that is what raising the colours actually means. So anybody that was under any sort of, let's just say, suspicion that it may have been to do with racism, that it may have been to do with fascism, that it may have been to do with any other slur that you would like to call the right, or as you name them, the far right, you are very, very wrong, and show some bloody respect for these people that fought in that First and Second World War.
This was at Borough on the hill. Oh, you've got it round the wrong way. Never mind. It's all right. That's the one. That's the right one. The event was especially moving because the prayers and words were given by a Dutch family and friends and family members from Australia, New Zealand and the USA. We also remembered Davina and Michael Bates of Somerby, who both passed away this year because of their tireless work in support of the memorial. The service was led by the Reverend Jane Walker, and she quoted Winston Churchill's words that compassion and care for the welfare of people at home ought not to prevent compassion and care for people everywhere. Before and after the service, hospitality was provided at another Melton gem, the Matt Hampson Foundation for those with severe sports injuries. Now, back in May, Councillor Clancy and I suggested that we agree to forego the backdated increases in our members' allowances and redirect the money saved to invest in our communities. This released approximately £18,000 for this purpose, and I invited all members to send me their suggestions for how this money could be spent. I'm grateful for the various ideas that were submitted, which have all been assessed both in terms of affordability and deliverability, and I'm delighted that we are now in the process of finalising grants with various voluntary community groups for 9 initiatives across the borough. We've started to make contact with the successful organisations such as Asforby Parish Council, Bottisford Football Club and the Oasis Preschool. Once all the arrangements are in place, I will ensure that we send out all a full update to all members, and we will seek to make the grant payments as soon as practically possible. We will ensure that the relevant ward members are involved. If we can now go to the next slide, that'd be helpful. Yes, you can see Councillor Higgins there with a large cheque. We've started.
And you can't actually take that particular cheque into the bank to try and cash it because it wouldn't fit under the actual thing. They will get a smaller cheque that is for show, just in case anybody was confused. Because I used to see this on shows where they'd hand a massive cheque to somebody and think, are they going to carry that in the wallet?
This process with the Friends of the 10th last Saturday with a cheque of £3,000. This was a small contribution and helped pay for the memorial path with the names of the fallen. I was rather touched, I think we all were, that the youngest there was just 17. Madam Mayor, I want to talk about the Country Park bridge repair and reinstatement. At its last meeting, Council approved the budget.
Now, so anybody that doesn't know, the Country Park bridge was damaged during a flood. There was an estimate of £150,000 to actually fix the bridge, but what's happened is Melton Borough Council have basically turned around and said it's going to take a lot more than £150,000 to fix the bridge permanently. If they fix the bridge with £150,000, if there's another flood, it will break again. It looks like I've been down and had a look and I've done a video on it. It looks like this foundation's there for them to build on top on, but they're going to make a long-lasting bridge that should last for years. If it does flood, it won't affect the bridge whatsoever. Now, maybe some money could be invested into actually stopping it from flooding in the first place, but I'm not in control of the council.
For repair and reinstatement of the Country Park Bridge. And I'm pleased to say that this has progressed. Contractors have been appointed. A contract mobilisation meeting will take place next week and site investigations are due to commence, after which the design programme and overall timeline will be updated and confirmed to all members. We know that members are keen to see the appointment of local suppliers where appropriate for local works. We have used a contract exemption process to secure contractors and specialists for this project due to the specialist and complex nature of the requirement and the partnership requirements with our insurers. For your awareness, the consultant delivering the project for us from the company called Broadia actually lives in Melton Mowbray, and the supplier conducting the site investigations, providing the design and building, installing the bridge, including all statutory and regulatory requirements, is Dana Walsh.
So that sounds like to me the contract's actually gone to a local firm, which is a damn good thing, keeping the money in Melton and everything else.
A Leicestershire-based civil engineering company. Madam Mayor, car parking. On car parking charges, and in line with my previous announcements, I can confirm that the action we committed to are either complete or well underway.
So for those of you that don't know, there was a car parking charge mistake a few months ago which gave Melton Mowbray 3 weeks of free parking. It was rectified. People were saying, are they going to charge extra on the parking to claw back the money? I don't know exactly what's happened with this because I haven't actually been watching any of the videos that they've been doing just recently. This is the first one I've actually done for a while. The portfolio holder had made a mistake of some description to the cost of around £35,000. So let's see what Pip says about that.
The outcome of the lessons learned review is due to be reported to the Audit and Standards Committee on the 30th of September. The analysis of the impact of free parking on town centre footfall.
So there's a date for your diaries, the 30th of September.
Is also nearly complete and will be shared at the upcoming portfolio liaison group, but focused on the town centre. Detail is worthy of discussion. There are some helpful ideas to discuss, but it is already clear that the blanket free parking does not help the town centre as it prevents churn in visitors and reduces capacity for people to use the high street.
How much of that I actually believe, I do not know, because them 3 weeks of free parking, the car parks were absolutely rammed and Melton was very busy, probably the busiest 3 weeks we've seen for a long time, especially on market days, Saturdays, and it was, I don't know what, I think somebody actually did do an external audit of some description to see what the footfall was and everything else, but I'd have to sort of go back to a previous video to find out what that was. We're doing this video at the moment, so we'll crack on with this one for now.
Madam Mayor, I do have a remit to keep members and the public informed about progress towards devolution and local government reform. Yesterday I chaired the contact group of 8 leaders covering Leicestershire, 7 boroughs and districts, and of course Rutland County Council. This evening I simply wish to set out some key dates, and these will be circulated. Monday the 29th of September there's an all-member briefing. I gather that political groups may request further briefings, which we're entitled to. The full draft submission, which will be agreed by the Leicestershire Council leaders, will be available.
Message from our old mate Deadpool, basically saying that town was actually booming for them 3 weeks. It was like going back in time.
on the 20th of October.
Thank you, Deadpool.
The Scrutiny Committee will have a chance to examine the issue on the 30th of October, and Council will follow up on the 6th of November.
Quick note for everybody watching, if you go and hit the like button, it brings in more viewers, therefore making the conversation a lot more energetic, so keep hitting the like button.
Cabinet will formally meet on the 19th of November to make its legal decision, which will of course reflect all of the considerations aired at full council. We are writing out again to parish councils to keep them informed. Similar arrangements are happening in all district and borough councils. These dates and other information will be confirmed.
Shout out to Mr. Flair.
Madam Mayor, I'm pleased to confirm that Christmas will go ahead as planned, and this council will contribute £41,000 to lighting for the whole period in Melton Town's Christmas tree and the switch on. And I would like to thank all those concerned.
Last year's Christmas tree looked like it was delivered by my Hermes.
Whoever they are and wherever they are, not just within this council. Madam Mayor, I'm pleased to note that Melton's livestock market operations are bucking the national trend and expanding both volume of commercial transactions and the scope of its catchment area. I mentioned this last week at a special event organised by Leicester Business Voice and East Midlands Chamber of Commerce. The event was primarily about devolution and the creation of a regional authority for Leicestershire, Leicester and Rutland. But in answer to questions, I was able to point to the successes we are having in Melton on the economic development front, with potentially more to come. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Sharon Butcher for all her constant attention to detail.
Sorry about
including
that.
bashing me around the head occasionally and reminding what we need to do. But also, of course, all the officers led by Lydia. Thank you very much indeed. Madam Mayor, members will wish to know about current activities around the LUF programme, the future of Melton College campus, including the theatre, the various health provision issues, including a second GP surgery, maternity care and larger changes to the NHS. Now,
apparently they're going ahead with a second GP surgery. How true that is, I don't know. Sounds like Pip's just about to drop a bombshell or something. I've just dropped my guts. Sorry about that for everybody, but yeah, no, better out than in.
Wish at this point to thank our MP and councillors Helen Cliff and Joe Orson for their efforts on some of these issues. I know members will wish to discuss all these matters and not just listen to me on the subjects, so I will discuss with the Chief Executive and group leaders the best way to table all these issues for a
Chief Executive, I think, is Ed de Coverley.
Thorough and fair discussion. Madam Mayor, I must comment on asylum dispersal because that is a hot topic.
So here we go, is now going to comment on asylum dispersal, meaning Operation Scatter. How we may get some figures of how many asylum seekers Melton is actually going to be receiving now. Whether these are from the Ukrainian scheme or the Afghan scheme, I do not know. Whether they are from Serco and they're illegal migrants, illegal migration is different to legal. That's what we need to make clear. Legal migration is somebody that comes in on a plane that's fleeing from persecution or war, and they want to enter this country to feel safe, maybe go and get themselves a job, maybe open their own business. There are plenty of people like that in Melton, and they usually integrate into society. The illegal migrations are the ones coming over on the boat that's probably escaped prison, that's probably escaped from a crime or something along those lines, or over here and what you call economic migrants. Now, they're the ones we don't want, and the only way we're going to have any effect on this actually happening is by sticking together as a community and listening to each other and talking instead of shit slinging, mud slinging, calling each other names and all the rest of the crap that goes on.
We know this remains an emotive topic. Our teams continue to work hard to ensure that community views and insights are heard as part of any Serco decisions that affect the borough. We have also seen and heard a range of inaccurate assertions about asylum dispersal.
Now, that some of the rumours that were going round was we were going to get 4,000 new migrants, illegal migrants, coming to Melton, which was simply not true. I think I did say that in another video as well. 4,000 in Melton would be a lot. To be honest, I think 3,000 to 2,000 would be a lot, but
we are monitoring the community tensions linked to these. Our fact sheet published to our website seeks to provide factual information. And
I will try and include a link in the description for the fact sheet for that actual document that Pip is actually talking about.
Like to take this opportunity to confirm that there are not 2,000 asylum seekers individuals due to reside in Melton.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth. There are not 2,000 migrants moving to Melton. It's 1,909. Joke. That was a frickin' joke, right? That was a joke. Don't know how many are coming. Let's see what Pip says.
This is a complete fabrication. And this council is not using its own accommodation for this purpose.
No, because I found something out the other day. Now, we've got places called housing associations, and it's been noticed in and around town that there's a lot of people moving out of certain types of property, mainly 2-bedroomed, because that way you wouldn't need a licence for a HMO. And these people are being moved on to newer properties or different properties, and then white vans have been turning up and completely gutting these properties. Now we know that basically some of the housing associations are going to be housing migrants in some of these new houses and houses that they already have in their housing stock.
Members will hear more about this and our wider refugee resettlement work at the all-member briefing at the end of the month. Madam Mayor, my final point really, and it's flags, you'll not be surprised to hear. There is a question on this matter tonight, and members may have read my article in the Melton Times, so I won't repeat any of the areas there. But
And just before he goes on, I did read that article and I found it very interesting. No qualms with it whatsoever. But as I said, there was a little bit of a hint earlier to what this video was mainly going to be about. So let's see what Pip says.
Very pleased to see that the new Reform county councillors across our region, especially Dan Harrison in Leicestershire, are condemning graffiti and unauthorised daubing of public property as a criminal offence. So
now, with that, I actually agree. If you're going to go round painting roundabouts and things like that with the Red Cross, I mean the ones that we had in Melton up near, I think it was Fernley, I'm not 100% sure if anybody wants to correct me. At the end of the day, that is criminal damage. It is antisocial behaviour and it shouldn't be happening. And that makes people like me and Melton Patriots and other people, Melton's very own flagman, look bad. All we were trying to do is put flags up on lampposts for people. They can be easily taken down. They're not harming anybody as long as they're not blocking any road signs. They're not blocking any important information. Now, we made sure every single step of the way that this wasn't happening, and the people that are doing it made sure this wasn't happening as well. And you can't go tarnishing people with the same brush. We had nothing to do with any graffiti, and we do not advocate for any graffiti in Melton Mowbray. Also, let's make it clear, putting these flags up is not about racism. It is nothing to do with the EDL. It is the English flag, and it's supposed to bring people together as a community. Whether you are Asian, whether you are black, whether you are white, whether you are heterosexual, whether you are straight, whatever you identify as. You can identify as a sodding chicken for all I care. You fall under that flag. It's not there anymore, but you fall under that flag, and it's meant to be bringing community together. So don't let people tell you that you're racist because you want to raise your own flag in your own country on your own soil that you were born under. Don't let people tell you that. Now, we've got a minority, and I mean a very small minority of people. I've seen these flags being put up. Everybody that goes past beeps their horns, puts their thumbs up, cheers out the window, and pleased to actually see it. We've had residents basically saying, can we put them on the lampposts outside their house, because they were scared that they would have their house attacked by a far left individual or individuals, which is a very small percent of Meltonians. Now, let's see what is actually said after I've just put my penance worth in. Let's see what's said.
Well done to them. Recently, on the occasion of the death of the Duchess of Kent, some idiots thought that the Union flag at half-mast on a council building ought to be augmented by a St George's flag, obviously in complete ignorance of proper protocol and respect for the royal family on the occasion of one of their members dying. Here
I did not know anything about that.
At Melton, we have a clear policy on flags for this building, which accords with national protocol and rules. We have made only We have made only, I think, 2 changes since I've been in office. We've added the United Nations flag, or VE Day, to remember both victory and the sacrifices made for peace and look into the future. This week, we have agreed to add a special Royal British Legion flag for Remembrance Week.
And you know what? For that, good on them. That's all I can say. Good on them.
In the past 2 years, I have declined requests to fly flags which are controversial and because I believe flags should be used sparingly and with care. I have not agreed, as I was asked to do, to fly a Palestinian flag, but I have also declined a request from Councillor Joe Orson, asked in good faith, I accept, to fly an Israeli flag after the atrocities of October 7, 2023.
Now, it's nice to hear Pip actually say that, because obviously October the 7th was one of the most disgusting things that's ever happened in human history. And I mean, if you've seen some of the videos and things like that actually happened, these, I'm not going to go on about it in this video, but that's nice to actually hear. So, yeah.
I was actually criticised for this on a Conservative social media site, and this was liked by Mr. Jacob Wilkinson. Now, none of these people would be aware that on November the 5th, I was in the chapter house at Canterbury Cathedral, where I was able to hug and pray with a rabbi and his good lady wife. So I do not have any angst about these important issues, but I just feel that we should fly flags with a bit more decorum and a bit less politics. Shortly before my grandfather was awarded the DCM in the First World War, Edith Louisa Cavell, a Red Cross matron who assisted British POWs to escape.
I had a relation in the Navy that died in the Second World War. So the flag, as I said, means probably something to absolutely everybody and what we actually stand for as a country. It's so important that we remember that. And raising these flags isn't just to remember the country, it's actually bringing people together. We raise these flags when England play. We raise these flags when they play tennis. We raise these flags for the Olympics. All sorts of reasons to raise the flags. Now, the reason we're raising these flags is because what Labour are doing to the country. Not just one of those reasons, it's to show unity and to show togetherness.
Escape was executed. She said, according to the Times, just before she was shot, "Patriotism is not enough. I must have no hatred or bitterness towards anyone." And I would conclude by using the words of Samuel Johnson, who wrote our first dictionary. Patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel.
Patriotism is the last refuge of the scoundrel. So is that saying that it's wrong to be patriotic? It's wrong to love your country? I don't know.
Thank you, Councillor Armitage. Item number 6 is public question time. No questions from the public have been received. Item number 7 is questions from...
Now, if you did put a question in from the public and you watch my YouTube channel, please let me know when you actually put that question and what the question was, because it'd be very interesting to see if there was actually any questions. So please let me know. You can inbox me on Photography It's All About the Edit on Facebook and let me know if you did put any questions in and whether they're not asking the questions that are supposed to be asked. Just let me know. It's just a question, that's all.
Members, there are 3 questions from members have been received. The questions and written responses have been tabled, and I will ask the questioner if they would like to ask a supplementary question. In accordance with the procedure and rules, may I remind questionnaires that the supplementary question must arise directly from the original question or the reply. The first question is from Councillor Butcher to the Chair of Planning Committee and related to the planning regulation around flags associated with acts of vandalism. Councillor Butcher, in relation of the response of your first question, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Thank you. I have no supplementary.
Thank you. The second question was from Councillor Ian Atherton to the portfolio holder of Corporation Finance, Property and Resources in relation to maintenance of...
I didn't hear what that question was, but...
Mill Street Car Park. Councillor Alverton, in relation to the response of your response to your second question, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. First off, I'd like to thank Councillor Sarah Cox for the response, albeit I don't believe it actually answers the question that I raised, because monies raised from car parking, as far as I'm aware, shouldn't be treated as part of the general fund, and we shouldn't need to await decisions still to be made. The supplementary question I have is, since the fiasco with car parking charges, the payment machine in the middle of Burton Street car park has been unserviceable. Please can the portfolio holder provide an update on the status of its repair, why it's taken so long, what escalation Melton Council have taken with the management of the responsible organisation?
Shout out to my brother Aaron. Nice to see you, mate. Thanks for watching.
Councillor Cox, would you like to respond?
And in part respond, and we'll get more detail on. In the first part, we have secured a contract for the repair of Moore Street, and liaison group. So that is our position, and the budget has been allocated. It's approved by council, so there is. They do come from parking charges. This administration have actually supplemented that and allocated to repairs across the district, which the asset liaison group would. So thank you for
So again, this is about the parking. The parking that was messed up a couple of months back. We had 3 weeks free parking in Melton Mowbray.
It's already been identified as one of the area. In relation to the charging machines, we identified when we took over as an administration that these repair, they're frequently cost of getting them serviced and the cost of actually mending any charges on them or making any alteration to is becoming significant. So those placement of those machines in I do apologise, dropping out. So we are in motion to replace all the machines. Whether that one is a waiting replacement rather than repair, we'll get an answer to. The cost of repairing them be so high that it's actually just know the procurement process has been the exact dates we're giving you.
Councillor Cox. The third question was from Councillor Brown to the Chair of Planning Committee in relation to collection of Section 106 monies from the development south of Frisbee. Councillor Brown, in relation to response to your first question, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to ask a supplementary question for the reason.
This is Councillor Ronan Brown, Leader of the Opposition, Conservatives.
That is that the information in the answer given is contrary to the facts that I have here. Right. So the activation clause should have been 20 ago when we announced that only happens. So, Councillor Twitch, you've confirmed that Melbourne Council invoiced the developer. This raises another serious question. Why did it take this date when the payment trigger was reached in December 2023 with the completion occupation of 20?
Now I can't hear what Ronan's actually saying.
Contacted officers on 10 occasions between 6th of January.
They seriously need to get this audio system sorted out, either invest in some new hardware or get your software updated or something, because there's something not right.
June. That it took that time to get that invoice raised. In addition, now under the auspices of the bank, so it's highly unlikely we're going to get the money back. So if, my question is, if we had an invoice when we should, when the company was fully solvent,
I can't hear.
my question.
Councillor Quaid, would you like to respond to?
Thank you, Councillor Brown. I mean, obviously, you've given me some details that I wasn't before this. I can give you the information that I had before. Was that officers formally confirmed the trigger for the payment following the site visit in January 2025, after your involvement in December.
Come on, guys, get in the like button so more people can come in and join in with the conversation and stuff.
They then calculated the sum required, which included a number of years indexation. I mean,
that weren't me.
Prior to issuing the invoice, there were issues identifying someone responsive. Consequently, an invoice was finally issued in early June to both the registered office, as required under the Companies Act, and the address stated on the 106 agreement. Council subsequently received a viability challenge on the site seeking to remove the committed sum, which is being dealt with under the normal procedures as described in previous response. Obviously, I can't comment on
a few moments later,
etc., because that's not something I'm aware of. To answer your question about why wasn't it done, yes, there were problems in there, and following an audit on the actual.
What would be interesting is to find out how much the cost was to actually sort it out as well, and whether that was actually included in the final figure. So, for example, if they were saying 30,000 or 35,000 that was lost through to the parking not being active or not being sorted out properly, then it would have been the cost for the administration to actually sort everything out, the audit and everything else. So, what was the final figure?
Process done in 2024 was identified that there were some outstanding problems with the procedures. A number of improvements have been made to the monitoring process, which are now more resilient than they were previously. Although due to capacity, there remains.
There's also the problem of the Section 106's £600,000 remains uncollected. This is, I don't know whether like you said, they are going ahead with a new doctor's surgery and everything else. But £600,000, that's a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, for those of you that don't know what a Section 106 is, I'll leave a link in the description after this has actually uploaded, and I think it was. Yeah, it's something to do with planning permission, and when people give planning permission, they're supposed to give a certain amount of money to the council. I don't know whether that budget would be ring-fenced or anything else for other things, but this is interesting because these are some of the questions that need answering, and that, you know, people don't usually ask.
Limitations in terms of the amount of proactive checks that can be made.
That figure may vary. I said that for my own arse.
Developers do have a duty to advise us when triggers are met, but there is a proactive annual check of dwelling completions for monitoring to try and improve that. 8 recommendations were proposed by the auditor, and 5 of those have already been implemented, including
Who was the auditor? And was there any vested interests? Who was the auditor for that actual case?
Approved and documented procedures which weren't in place before, and the establishment of a working group. The remaining improvements are in hand. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to receive those in writing and I'll respond to following that.
Thank you, Councillor Twait.
Back to Ziggy Atherton.
There's no notions given to here this evening, so we move to item number 9. Cabinet recommendation to Council Merton Borough Centre Design Guidance Supplementary Planning Document. I will now invite a portfolio holder for the Corporation, Governance, Environment, Regulation Service, Councillor Clancy, to represent the Cabinet recommendation to Council in relation to Melton Mowbray Town Centre Design Guidance and Supplementary Planning Document.
Now, I'm not sure if anybody's actually seen the actual design of the town centre. They've had the new planters put in, they've had certain things done. Shop fronts have been being done. Shops have taken up some of them on themselves to actually repaint the front of the shops. Clark's has recently closed after recently being repainted. I did do a video on that. Refer you back to one of my other videos. I think it's about 2 to 3 videos back if you want to go and take a look at that. Yeah, the town centre is getting a little bit of a redesign. I don't know whether we're going to make it more sort of pedestrianised. I don't know whether they're putting a zebra crossing in. I don't know exactly what the plans are. Let's take a look.
Councillor Clancy.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody.
So this is Councillor Margaret Glancy.
Preparation of the Melton Town Centre Design Guidance has been funded through UK Shared Prosperity Fund. It is seen as of high importance to this administration. You may recall in April this year, Cabinet endorsed the Town Centre Design Guidance, and last week Cabinet agreed.
For those of you that are interested, after this video is uploaded, I will timestamp it so you can go through the video as and where you actually want. I know how to actually do that now. I've been doing a little bit of research on how to do these online. So,
recommendation to this council that the Melton Mowbray Town Centre Design Guidance supplementary planning document, and I'll try saying that over and over, is adopted as a formal supplementary planning document. We do this
I'll be reading some of the comments out that I've received at the end of this video.
Because following adoption, it will provide maximum possible weight to the design guidance as a material consideration for determining planning applications. The SPD complements the Melton local plan by providing supplementary guidance to the interpretation of policies. As is in the case with other SPDs, as the planning members may recall, are those that were on planning.
We've got 4 people watching. Get sharing and liking this video. Hit the like button as many times as you can. Give it a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down. If you don't like the video, please feel free to like. The more you like, the more people will come on to chat, the more people will chat, and the better it will be.
Design SPD in affordable housing. If you recall, we use these SPDs a number of times when we're making decisions. We now have the final version of the SPD following consultation with the wider public, and I must admit this is a very concise document setting out our aspirations for the town centre. Several chapters including design principles, guidance for public ground, guidance for short stop fronts, which I'm aware is a concern for some in relation to the conservation area, plus guidance for wayfinding. Developing and improving of our town centre is one of our corporate strategies. Adopting the SPD this evening will aid delivery of Theme 3, which focuses on...
Just so everybody in the comments is reassured, I don't mention names when reading out comments for 3 different reasons. 1, anonymity. I always keep the anonymity of places where I get information. Number 2, they may not appreciate me actually calling that comment out. So I don't usually do that sort of thing. That way it stops the mudslinging and it stops the shit and it stops all the shit that comes with it, if you see what I mean. But I will be reading the comments out, and please be reassured of that.
Improving the town centre through the development and, importantly,
some very good points here.
Implementation of the town centre design guide. And without these tools, sometimes we find ourselves floundering a little bit, but with this tool we can actually put it together. I would just like to add that you may already be aware that the Melton Mowbray Conservation Area has been designated as at risk by Historic England. The SPD provides guidance to support the retention and enhancement. I'm therefore more than happy to propose recommendations at 2.1 and 2.
Thank you, Councillor Clancy. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Wiltshire, thank you. I now will open this item to debate and invite members to raise their hand to indicate if they wish to speak.
Eddie Coverley saying something
Wiltshire,
to
are you reserving
Ziggy
your right to speak? Thank you. I now will open this to debate. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak. Councillor Pritchett.
Someone raise their hand.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Leader, Portfolio Holder and Councillors. I'm pleased to see a focus on heritage, although it only took to line 5 of the introduction to mention pork pies. Fortunately, there was less than usual on pies than in the past. For those that have been at the council from 2019 to 2023, I invented a piometer, record every time pies were mentioned. The late Councillor Stedman regularly stated the town doesn't make enough out of heritage, so I'm very pleased to see this. And to quote the great American philosopher Billy Joel, folk like the way old stuff looks and how new stuff works. It's good to have robust plans for grant claims and to hand over to unitary authority, the key word being robust. For background, MBC lives in what I would describe as civic poverty. Very small population, low disposable funds, some parts and markets thankfully run by the town estate. And for now we've got the theatre with Buxley College. And we have very little money spare for this type of thing compared to the larger councils. I'm not clear from the document, whilst I like the aspirations, whether some of the public realm is actually within the planning framework. I haven't gone back as looking around where we've got an ageing population, and we must make sure that the grey pound can get
yeah, it's the Gateway Strategy. It's 4.7 on page 87 on the laptop. Right, what it is.
Somebody in the background there in the public gallery, I'm not sure who that is, I can't quite work it out.
It says, implement one-way traffic flow on sets of streets to redirect traffic in the town. Well, I'm against this because the temptation to speed is really strong if we go.
Also, we've just had a new bypass built, and jamming up traffic in town, is that going to put any more pressure on the bypass that we've just had built to try and relieve the traffic in town? Are we going to be making the traffic worse? Have there been any surveys done? Again, questions that need answering. How much is the cost of it and everything else? Could the money be spent elsewhere? Does Melton Mowbray need Doge?
Go on these roads if you do that. But so I'm against it. But if it does go ahead, so long as there's some form of speed control, not speed bumps, but some form of speed control on the road itself, then that possibly could be okay. But otherwise, I would be against it. Okay. Thank you,
Councillor Gordon with a very good point there. Like you say, if you've got something that's safe and actually works, if it's broke, don't fix it. That's the usual saying. But everybody complaining, there's been a lot of complaining about how dull Melton looks, myself included. I used to walk around with my camera actually pointing all this out. Got a lot of videos and a lot of attention out of that. So it's in one hand out the other. It's you've got to weigh these odds up. You've got to weigh them up.
It's not Arnold.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As always, Councillor Pritchett gives a lot of detail in the report to the topic at hand. And I'm always delighted to hear him say. I have to say that the Town Centre Working Group was not populated by many councillors, and some of the details that he's addressed, I think, would have been worthy of further.
Now, what part of the town centre is actually owned by the council and which part is owned by Town Estate? And are Town Estate anything to do with this regeneration of the town centre? And if so, how much are they actually putting in towards this? That's quite interesting, because I thought with the parking problem that we had in Melton of people parking in the town centre actually on the market square, I seen the ticket people actually just walk straight past the cars because they couldn't give them a ticket because it was owned by Town Estate. So what's what? Just asking.
For the discussion there, I think it's also worth remembering, and it's Councillor Pritchard's reference to the spending the money on the particular document. The UK SPF spend programme, something I walked into when we were council. This particular item was on the list, the to-do list.
Anyway.
Before I go back to Councillor Butcher, you've got a question or statement?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the officers for their hard work and all the workshops that we held, which included businesses, and everybody had their input and explaining it.
Now, just recently there has been a post on the Melton Times web page. Go and take a look at it, to do with Melton Bid. Go and have a look, take a read and have your opinion on it.
Anybody else wishing to speak? Councillor Clancy, would you like to respond, please?
Well, yes, well, thank you very much for your comments. And I think, as my two colleagues have said, a lot of this, if you feel that strongly about it, could have probably come out during the process of this design guidance. Not leave it until it's before council this evening is a bit of a pain. But it is mainly to support the local plan, and as Councillor said, it's not a sort of a doing document. It's what we would like to see for others who are going to be doing things within our town centre. It's not for us to follow them, and we can't do new. We've put past it responsibility. But should they need doing, we have a
Which one of them of laptops is watching Street Switch Photography?
plan. That's how we'd like to see them. So I do think it's still a very, very good document, very concise, and I'm still very happy to propose it this evening.
Councillor Pritchard, I've just been informed.
Can the real Street Switch Photography please stand up?
Can't respond to that.
I thought everybody had paused then.
A few moments later.
Yep.
A few moments later.
Exercise their right of reply. That closes the debate. I think perhaps, I mean, I take the point that we want a bit more to and fro, and perhaps we should have a little reminder of the rules, because I certainly wouldn't want to see you stifled, Don, because, you know, let's have debate, that's fine, but there is procedure we have to adhere to. So
totally agree. Debate is the best way to sort most things out. That's why we have a democracy. That's why we so-called have freedom of speech, and that is the way things should be. Obviously there are certain individuals, I'm not talking about councillors or Melton Borough Council, that don't like to debate. They just like to get nasty, as my video proved on Saturday when I was down at the Reform tent and I was asking Reform, well, some gentleman come down, I won't mention his name, but he asked Reform some questions and they couldn't answer them. The person wasn't there to actually answer the questions, and I got it all on video, and I also got told to go away.
But Madam Mayor, I asked for a ruling.
Not by Reform, by somebody else.
Our monitor officer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The rules are very clear. It's in the Council's Meetings General Procedures Rules, and it's Rule 15.6.1, and that states that when a member has spoken on a motion, may not speak again whilst it is in whilst it is the subject to debate, except to speak on an amendment, to move a further amendment. His first speech was on an amendment, to speak on another amendment, in the exercise of the right of reply, point of order, or by way of personal explanation. None of those criteria have been met in this instance.
Could I make an amendment, if possible, to do with what I spoke about?
No, that's
Can't do it at all.
No.
Okay.
The debate has been closed.
I think that was Councillor Gordon asking if she could make an amendment.
We will now proceed to the vote. Please use the electronic voting system in front of you to choose either for or against the abstain.
Question, why do they use some votes when they've got the voting system there to be used so people can see exactly who it is who's voting on what, yet they don't pan the camera around to see who's putting the hand up when they do a hand vote?
Abstain.
This system almost seems archaic. Put another half a penny in to keep it running. Wind it up with a shovel of coal.
Please.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we have 15 for and 9 abstention. So it's carried.
Now I'm still getting used to how these meetings actually work and everything else, so if I make any mistakes please feel free to comment and make a comment and correct me. I can take constructive criticism rather well. I've got thick skin, so don't be afraid to say, well, you may have got this bit wrong or that bit wrong. That's what this is all about, me learning, me getting better at what I actually do and improving. I want to improve. I've made my lighting better, I've made the situation better with the OBS streaming equipment that I'm using, I've made my microphone and sound quality better. So please feel free to comment and carry on liking the video. Let's carry on.
I end the meeting at 19:23.
Ziggy the Atherton using the old steak tenderizer.
Members, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Mayor of the Borough of Melton, Councillor Ziggy Atherton.
So Ziggy Atherton is leaving the room, and I think that may be the end of the meeting. Not much mention of flags and stuff. And there you go, that was the Melton Borough Council meeting on the 18th of the 9th 2025. Again, quite interesting. Now, I thought there was going to be some more questions about flags going up in Melton, about the legalities of it and everything else on the thing called Raise the Colours. Now, again, the reason we're doing the thing called Raise the Colours is because it's supposed to be bringing communities together, and we've got a few people, not many, a few, that are completely and utterly against it. And I mean 100% against it, and they'll do anything to try and spread misinformation, try and basically twist the narrative to to their liking. And it's not what they say it's about. It is not far right to want to fly your own flag in your own country. It is not far right to want to bring communities together. Just because this flag was associated at one time 15 years ago with somebody called the EDL, which was a far right movement, and Tommy Robinson was the head of that movement at the time, he actually left that movement and it fizzled out. He disbanded it. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% in support of Tommy Robinson, because I am not. I do lean further to the right than some people, but I wouldn't say I'm far right by any way, shape or form. I've got people and friends on the left who I actually agree with and who I have actually had some disagreements with, but I am still friends with them because I am capable of trying. Now, notice I did say the word trying to debate, which means we have a democracy, which means we have freedom of speech, and that's what we stand up for, and that's the way it should be. There should be less shit slinging, and these people should be doing the jobs that they are employed and voted for to actually do. This has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell. Please give me a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down if you want to leave a comment with something you disagree with or a mistake that I've made. Please feel free to do so. I'm going to go through some of the comments that I've got on my screen right here, right now. We started out with somebody saying, la 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 la, it's me. Yes, I know who that is. I'll be giving you a call or a voice message in a few minutes. We've got Deadpool. That's the one with the Deadpool photo. He says this town was booming for 3 weeks when the parking charges were taken away. Yes, it was. I totally agree with that. It was like it was back in 2010. I remember it when it was late 90s, mate. This town was a thriving town. It was a day out just on its own to go out on a Saturday and have a walk around the market. On a Tuesday you had the cattle market. It was buzzing. It was absolutely buzzing. The nightlife was buzzing. Everything about this town was absolutely fantastic. Here we go. We've got another comment from my brother. Good evening, bro. He's only just got in from work, so he works very long hours, and yeah. And then he said hello, hello, hello. Hello. And then he's just settling down to actually watch my video, bless him. Love you, mate. Big up Street Switch. And then we have, I'm going to say an anonymous parking charges. 1 second. Parking charges is a force. Let's get it right. Ronan is asking them why they failed to collect £600,000 in Section 106s from the buildings after the properties have been built. The council's basically failed to collect the money. Good question, and these will be questions that need to be answered. And then we've got parking costs total £70,000. Again, I can't verify that 100%. The dandle in the carrot. Again, everybody on this channel is entitled to their free speech, as I said. And then that person said, you're doing great. Thank you. I do appreciate your support 100%. 100%. Anyway, this has been Street Switch Photography. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate every single view. And again, you don't have to agree with every single thing that I actually say. You've got your own mind. You know, you've got your own mind. You're an intelligent person. Don't let anybody tell you any different. The thing is, this thing to do with Raise the Flags is really close to my heart, because obviously we had people in the First and the Second World War that died in that war to protect our freedoms today. And that is really important for our children's future, to understand exactly what it is that their great-great-great-grandfathers actually did. Melton Maffey has just popped in and has just said, how many pubs on the pub something in the 90s? God, mate, I remember back in the day when we used to go out in the late 90s, you used to go into every single pub in Melton and have half a pint, and by the time you got to the end of it, you were absolutely blackout drunk. That's how many pubs Melton had. There have been quite a lot closed. I could reel them off, but I'm not going to in this video. Yeah, Melton was thriving back in the 90s. I'm a 90s lad myself. I was, you know, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I'm into my retro stuff all the time anyway, so yeah, let's big up Melton. Let's bring communities together by putting up the flags. Let's raise these colours. Let's bring communities together. Let's make people feel safe. Let's make people get people talking about this situation that we're in Melton and across the rest of the country. Because as far as I can tell at the moment, we're in a very good position after what happened on Saturday. That's shown exactly what it was that was happening. We had a lot of people saying there was a lot of far-right people out. Now, there was about 1 million people at that peaceful protest. 26 people were arrested. Now, that is good. What they didn't tell you was, or what they failed to miss out was, 12 people were of the far left variety. So it was even less than that. Notting Hill Festival, you know, the book grinding one where they like to grind each other up, 400 arrests. A Palestinian protest, 806 arrests. And these were protests that were much, much smaller. So to come out actually on TV and call everybody that was at that protest far right just does not add up. Who did the sums on this? Was it Diane Abbott? Because she can't even put her shoes on the correct feet. Yeah, builders get away with making promises and they can't hold. Basically, the builders and these people that get this planning permission get away by saying, oh, we can't afford it, and then it's Melton Borough Council's fault for not actually chasing it up. They should learn to say no. That's what I think. Now, there's no ill feeling between any of these councillors. They all have to sit in the same office together and they all have to get on. Remember that. But again, there's got to be some questions asked that they do not want asked and that they need to answer. You were a mash tub lad, was you, mate? I was the Black Swan, the George. They were my two watering holes back in the day. And then the Half Moon. The Half Moon is still there. Now, I don't know whether Martin, the landlord, actually watches my channel, but big up if you do, mate. Nice to speak, you know, nice to speak to you the other day and say hello. Anyway, I'm going to get off because I want a nice hot cup of coffee and to sit in front of a nice 90s film or something. I don't know what I'm going to watch yet. I might be Flight of the Navigator or Powder. I don't know yet. But this has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and give me a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.
Street Switch Photography.